Hello students, can you tell me what you see in this picture? Yes, there are so many books. We all love to read different types of books like different types of storybooks, different types of fairy tale books, different types of ghost story books, and stories about Lord Ganesha. Today we are going to learn English subject The Story of Sindbad the Sailor. The story of Sindbad and his 7 fantastic voyages appears in the huge collection of stories, the Book of 1001 Nights or the Arabian Nights. The story tells us that Sindbad was a famous sailor who lived in Baghdad. He was honest, generous and brave. He had many adventures on each of his voyages. He never lost heart and hope in dangerous situations. He overcame great dangers and returned home safely from each of his voyages. Here's the story of his first voyages. Now let's watch a video.
Sindbad set sail with a company of merchants on a big ship. From time to time, they stopped at various ports. There, they sold their merchandise and bought new things to trade. Merchandise are goods or things for sale. Trade means to sell. One day, when their ship was sailing smoothly across the sea, they spotted a small island at a distance. Island is a land surrounded by water from all sides. They had not seen land for many days and felt both surprised and happy to see the island. They sailed close to the island. The captain of the ship allowed them to go there for a picnic. Everyone was excited. Excited means very happy. On the island, they strolled around, sang, and danced. Strolled means walked here and there. Some people began to wash clothes. Some lit fires to cook meals. Soon, a breeze sprang up. Sprang up means began to blow suddenly. The fires began to blaze. Blaze means burn strongly. Suddenly, the land began to shake and move. With a shock, the picnic party realized that the island was not an island at all. They were on the back of a huge sea monster and it had started moving. People began to scream. They left their pots and pans, their clothes, both washed and unwashed, and rushed back to the ship. The captain ordered his men to set sail immediately in order to move away from the monster. The sea monster plunged deep into the sea. Plunged means jump or dive quickly and energetically. Many of the people managed to climb aboard the ship, but many sank into the sea with the so-called island. Aboard means to catch ship. Sindbad alone did not drown in the sea, but he could not reach the ship. He saw it sailing far, far away. He was now at the mercy of the waves, being tossed here and there. He clung to a piece of wood and somehow managed to keep afloat. Afloat means floating. He spent the night alone at sea. When the next day dawned, Sindbad was happy to see that he had floated near an island, a real big island. He could see hills and woods and trees at a distance. Though he was extremely tired, he swam to the shore with all the strength that he could muster. All the strength that he could muster means all the strength that he could use at that time. Exhausted and hungry, he lay on the sand for some time. Then again he made an effort and began to walk inland towards the shady fruit trees that he could see at a distance. Inland means towards an area of land away from the seashore. Luckily, this was the time when the king of that island sent his horses to the seashore with the grooms. Grooms are persons who take care of horses. The grooms saw Sindbad and gave him food and drink. Then they took him to the king. The king was impressed by the way Sindbad told him about what had happened. He asked Sindbad to stay with him and work as an officer of the king at the port. Sindbad stayed there for a few days, learning a lot from the king and the people of the island, and in turn telling them about the other cities and ports that he had visited. At the port, Sindbad often made inquiries about any ships coming from or going to Baghdad, but no such ship ever came to that port. Then one day, a ship arrived at the island with a lot of merchandise. Sindbad was at the quay when the cargo from that ship was being unloaded. Quay is a platform in a port or harbour where boats come to load or unload their luggage. Cargo means goods carried on a ship. He was surprised to see that his own name was marked on some of the boxes. Then he went to see the captain of the ship. At first, the captain could not believe that it was the same Sindbad that they had seen drowning in the sea. But when Sindbad spoke to him face to face, he recognized him. He was overjoyed to see Sindbad alive. He gave him back all his merchandise. From the goods that he thus got back, Sindbad presented the most valuable items to the king of the island, saying, "Please accept this, Your Majesty. You have been very kind and very generous to me." The king was pleased. He too gave Sindbad many valuable gifts when Sindbad left the island with a merchant ship. If you want to know what happened to Sindbad afterwards, you have to read the rest of the story of his fantastic voyages.
So, from Sindbad's first voyages, we come to know that he was a brave person, as he never lost his heart or hope when he was left alone in the sea. He somehow managed to keep afloat with the help of a piece of wood. Somehow he managed to float near an island. After reaching the island, Sindbad was exhausted and hungry. He lay on the sand for some time. After some time, he mustered all his strength and started to search for food. Luckily, this was the time when the king of that island sent his horse to the seashore with the groom. The groom gave some food to him and took him to the king. The king of the island was kind-hearted and generous. When Sindbad had no place to go to, he asked Sindbad to stay with him. He gave Sindbad many valuable gifts when Sindbad left the island.